Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to League Chat with the Stat. I'm Stat, and it's good to be back for another week. Look, I do need to apologise about last week. I did get caught up in a bit of an emergency, but nonetheless, we're back this week, and it's very good to be back here. I'm actually joined today by Jordan. Oh, hi, Jordan.
Sato, mate, how are we going?
Good, thanks. How are you, bro?
Yeah, good. Good to be here, man.
Mate, I'm excited to have you on. He was actually one of the guys that emailed through his request to jump on, so we appreciate your use of the email.
Man, I'm glad. I'm just glad you responded to it.
Mate, I'm glad you're here. Just before we quickly get started, I just want to address a few things. First things first, on behalf of the League Chat with the Stat team, just our condolences to the mother of Conrad Hurrell. Now, I know that Conrad Hurrell, obviously, his mum had passed away and he held a special place in her heart. I know that we always watch the tries, and every time he scored, he'd throw a kiss into the camera.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was actually really upset from that as well, just hearing about that, and they had such a very good, tight relationship as well.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to send our condolences from us to them, and we're just in our prayers.
Yeah. If you know anything about Conrad Hurrell, he's just a champion.
Yeah,
There's no one who doesn't like him.
Yeah,
so.
on the field he's a legend. Off the
Yeah.
field he's even better bloke.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys recently seen him on TikTok, but he's got some very, very good stuff going on there. So look, let's just get straight into it. Round 6. How'd you find round 6?
Man, crack around the footy.
Yeah, it's good, huh?
A lot of good games. A couple kind of stinkers, but there were some real good games. Real quality footy.
Yeah, no, it was so good. Let's get straight into it then, Jordan. Knights 27 defeating the Broncos 6. How'd you find the game?
Oh man, are we going to bring up the Broncos? Are we?
We'll get to that soon. Don't worry about that.
Look, I've always, Knights are always that team that they kind of start well and then kind of die. They did that last year by about round 10. It might be a bit too early to say where they're actually headed for the season.
Yeah.
They might be here to stay. You never know. Pong is really certifying himself as a superstar player.
Yeah.
Pearce is a solid halfback. Kurtman doesn't have to be an amazing 5'8" because in the end Pearce is the go-to guy. And with forwards, the Saifidi brothers, Clemmer, and with Frizzell coming next year, they look like they're going to be a real premiership contender.
Yeah, 100%. No, I definitely agree with that. Now, for my standouts, I had Callum Ponga.
Yeah.
He was very, very good.
He's on another level this year, I think.
Yeah, especially off the back of that re-signing for the next 4 years at Newcastle, which we'll get to that soon. Mitchell Pearce was outstanding. That consolation try at the end for him was just the top off for him for the night.
And they're really looking to him because he's been in the league for many years now. So they're really looking to him to take them somewhere.
Yeah, that's right. And look, I thought the game was actually an enjoyable game.
Yeah,
I thought the Newcastle forwards really stepped up. Most importantly, the Saifidi brothers.
Yeah, they're in career best form. I think. So I think Daniel just made Enter Origin last year.
Yeah.
I think he'd be a pick again this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was actually questioning his. I don't know if you remember, but I actually questioned his selection.
Yeah.
And I thought it was so weird, but under Adam O'Brien, both of him and his brother really, really stepped it up.
Absolutely.
And they showed for it. Brisbane, look, man, they had nothing. Just wanted to say they had absolutely nothing. They scored off a Andrew McCulloch intercept.
Intercept, yeah.
Straight
Absolutely.
to Xavier Coates, which he also topped Adakar as the fastest player in the NRL.
Xavier Coates he seems to be the shining light for Brisbane over the past
last
2
couple
weeks.
weeks.
I feel like he's the only one putting in effort.
Yeah, I know. The Brisbane, there's nothing, Jordan. I feel like I watched the game and I just felt that there was nothing.
Look, Brisbane, people are trying to put it on one thing. They're putting on the coach, Milford, Boyd. In the end, there's about 10 things.
Yeah.
And there's so many different factors. A lot of people tend to think that just sacking the coach fixes the problem. It's not usually the case.
Yeah, it's not.
There's a lot of work that needs to be done with that roster and with their attitude in general, I think.
Yeah, that's right. Look, personal opinion, I think Anthony Milford should be dropped. He's just got nothing to offer at the moment. They had many opportunities at their line. They just couldn't capitalise. And him and Croft, there's got to be something there because at the end of the day, your halves are the ones creating it. Like the forwards will set the foundation.
Absolutely.
Payne Haas even got hooked as well, which was for the first time in a while. He didn't play 80 minutes. I saw that he got hooked, I think in the first half and then leading into the second half as well. So, look, a lot of people are saying, I don't understand why the pressure is on Anthony Milford, but at the end of the day, if you're getting paid the big bucks and he's not the one delivering it, for me, that's...
when I look at $1 million players, I think James Tedesco, Daly Cherry Evans, your Cameron Munsters, people like that are just, the best players in the world.
That's right, yeah.
Milford doesn't really come to mind. So, when you're getting paid that much money, you'd hope you're getting a bit more.
Yeah, no, exactly. And Milford's been there for 6 years.
Yeah.
He's only 25. He's obviously, when he started out in Canberra, he was killing it.
Absolutely.
Got swan to Brisbane, he jumped at it, got a release from Canberra, and it's just done nothing.
Look, Brisbane are the team, especially Milford, they're the team when things are going good, they look really good and they're rolling. But as soon as things go bad, they just they can't dig themselves out.
Yeah, I know. Alex Glenn post game questioned whether they actually care for the jersey enough, and look, I feel for Glenn.
Yeah, true club man.
Yeah, first year as a captain, and he's already got this criticism on him, and he's just trying his best to do his part for the team, but one can't.
Well, there's only so much you can do.
But hey, what about that hit? TPJ,
yeah. I think
come back from suspension.
I think Brisbane are good to have him. Happy to have him back.
Yeah, I know. He comes back from suspension.
To put a shot like that on Clemmer, that's
mate.
It was big.
Clemmer's not a small kid, mate. He's a big boy.
Yeah. There's a reason he's one of the best props in the league.
He's a wrecking ball. So.
I think TPJ is that player that he can change games potentially because he's really explosive.
Yeah, we just need to find him that consistency.
Correct.
In order for that to happen, the second he
Exactly.
finds that consistency, I'm telling you, man, he will be dynamite for Brisbane, and he's what they needed. He did obviously have a couple of errors, but look, it's his first game since he's been back since the restructure of the NRL season. So it's good in that sense. I'm just glad to have seen him back, and that hit was beautiful.
Yeah, that's why we watch rugby league. I think.
Oh man, I wish I could watch it for the punch ons as well, but there's no punch ons anymore. So
we take what we get.
yeah, that's it. Let's on to the next game. Rabbitohs 40 defeating the Warriors 12. Mate, Latrell Mitchell's starting to find his feet.
Yes. That game started interesting. I mean, I think it was 6-0 where Warriors had a chance on the corner, Foster-Tua, where he really should have finished it.
Yeah.
And it was really, really unlike Foster-Tua to kind of just stumble and knock it on.
Yeah.
And then from there, the Bunnies ran away.
Yeah, well, he copped a head high shot from Latrell leading into that moment.
Right.
So he actually got taken off for the rest of the game for HIA.
There you go.
So for me, I'm finding that Latrell's really starting to find his feet at the Rabbitohs. He put on some beautiful passes. The pass to Johnston again, beautiful. His tip off to Gagai was superb as well.
Yeah.
He's really, really starting to find his way. And yeah, he's doing it against teams like, Warriors and Titans. But if he gives them that confidence when he comes up to the bigger teams, such as, your Roosters, even your Parramatta, even your Newcastle, your Penrith, when he starts displaying that against them, that's when he's truly starting to shine.
Yeah, look, people were taking digs at him, his first, second game at fullback. But you got to remember, going from centre to fullback is a huge transition.
That's right.
Especially in today's game. The fullback's pretty much the most important position on the field. You got to have high IQ defensively and offensively. So, yet it was a big role and a big transition. And, he's only been there for 4 or 5 games now. So, I think... he has the potential to be a great fullback, but I think it's still early times as well.
Yeah, it is still early days.
He's showing good signs, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. He's starting to really find his feet. And look, just with the Warriors, they're just struggling with that consistency, I find. We always talk about it. I've mentioned it a few times here on the show. They're struggling with that consistency. I don't know. I feel for them, and we can keep going on about whatever type of sacrifice they made, but at the end of the day, the performance is on the field.
Absolutely.
And
I do feel bad for them. They're all the way from home. They're all stuck here for the season. But yeah, they're always that team. They're always that team that's just like, what's happening there?
Yeah, mate. Look, Tohu Harris was a standout for me. He's actually been the shining light for the last few weeks for the Warriors. I've found he's my pick for the Warriors, even in a very, very bad scoreline on the Warriors end, 40-12. But he's actually been the standout on that. But look, just back on the Latrell quickly. The media harped on him crying in the sheds. Look, personally, I don't think that's on. There's no need for the media to know what's going on. No. Like, I think that's way too far.
Well, yeah, I mean, no one knows what he's going through. He could be crying about something personal, something about, we have no idea. And I love how Bennett stood up for him and said, it's none of your business what he's crying about.
Yeah, that's right.
And the media tried saying maybe the fans will know, and Bennett was like, no, the fans don't need to know. They'll understand.
Yeah.
I think it was a little low to kind of poke it at that much.
Do we expect anything less from the media, Jordan?
Yeah,
You're right.
We don't
expect anything from it. So. But look, on to the next game, which was on a Friday night as well. Panthers 21 defeating the Storm 14. Mate, that was such a good game from Penrith. Honestly,
Penrith are rolling, yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Like, against Power the week before, they played very good for 60 minutes.
Absolutely.
But this game, they had it out through the whole way. They kept Melbourne on the back foot as well.
Yeah.
But, mate, look, Melbourne... Mate, you could see, especially in that last try from kick out, so soft, so easy.
They kind of let that one in. And Penrith, good on them, kudos to them, because they bounced back from that win against Para. That was a tough loss. That was a tough loss because they played well.
Yeah.
And as a Para fan, I was watching. I was thinking, how are we going to win this in the first half? So they lost in a pretty heartbreaking way, I guess. But they came out swinging.
Yeah.
Nathan Cleary really making himself the marquee player there at Penrith.
Yeah, 100%. He's really showing that he's already a different side with him there.
Absolutely.
No disrespect to Matt Burden, he's killing it, but mate, Cleary is the main man at Penrith.
Absolutely.
So that was a stand-up for me. Look, Melbourne not up to scratch, but Look, it won't last long.
No,
Craig Bellamy
you can never count Melbourne out, man. In the end, they still have the best hooker of all time. They have Munster, who's top 5 player in the league.
Yeah.
They've got Pappenhausen, who's going to be an unbelievable fullback.
Yeah, that's right.
And with forwards like, Asafa Solomona, the Bromwich brothers, and then wingers. They've got 2-star wingers. So,
Yeah.
Their roster's, it's still an amazing roster.
Yeah, still very stacked. Now, look, obviously Josh Adokar couldn't play, and Penrith are actually very smart in targeting Marion Seve down on that wing. Man, he dropped 3 or 4 balls clean.
Yeah.
So we'll get back onto that a little bit after in regards to the team list for the upcoming round.
Absolutely.
But look, it won't last. Craig Bellamy just off his chops like he always is every week. I love
He
that.
won't let it last, will he?
No.
He
The
won't let
players
it
will
last.
definitely not perform like that again, let me tell you. So it was good. Moving on to the next game. Dragons going to Suncorp and beating them 20 points to 8 over the Titans.
Second win for Dragons.
Yeah, second one on the chart. Dragons fans, you must be loving life. But now look, it felt like I was watching a Jersey Flag game. No disrespect. There was so many errors. It was like 13-12 error count to Dragons. 25 errors in the game. There was about 50 odd missed tackles.
Look, I think we knew it was going to be a pretty scrappy game. Yeah. 2 of the lower ranking teams in the league. Titans, they're struggling. They are really struggling.
Absolute basket case.
I think they're a little tied up with the salary and who they've paid, and they don't have much room, do they?
No, they don't. I really feel for Holbrook. Justin Holbrook obviously has come in with a side that he can't really take control of. He's bought a few in. Corey Thompson played this week, but only played 25 minutes without going off HIA.
Yeah.
Thank God he got cleared for a broken jaw, but they're still being assessed for HIA.
Yeah.
But there's no desire, I feel like, with Titans, even with the players they have.
Yeah.
And Holbrook's trying to chop and change to see what is his best team on the park.
Yeah.
And especially like against the Dragons side, who've been under pressure for so long. I think the one thing that stood out to me in that game, which actually frustrated me, was Michele Ravalawa's try. Now,
I think that shows the culture of the Dragons. Just
sloppiness. Like, he was so sloppy. Like
you're just put it down.
Yeah, look, it was a beautiful cutout ball to get to Ravalawa. And he ran, and when you grounds the ball, he almost ran over the touch ball. Like, I'm just thinking, how?
They had to go to the bunker.
For that.
And he was wide open. Like,
I sat there blind up thinking,
down.
we're going back to the bunker again for something so stupid.
I mean, the ref put it in. It looked like he could have gone out over the dead ball line
I know.
instead of grounding the ball.
And then you just see that he's gone, and he's in within inches within the line. And I'm just thinking, mate, honestly, like, really?
I think that's something with the Dragons. I think that's the reason the Dragons never perform the way they should every year. They don't take it seriously enough.
It's very sloppy.
We've harped on their roster.
Yeah.
For years now.
Yeah.
They're just lazy.
Yeah, it is.
When they want to play good footy, they can.
Yeah, but look, for me, it wasn't too hard for them. But Zach Lomax did have his best game as a Dragon.
Yeah.
I actually rate him. I think he's a good player. That ball from Dufty to Lomax to go make that break and then step Thompson and score, that was actually pretty impressive.
I'm glad to see boot as well. I'm glad to see Dufty with in the first grade squad. He's always in and out. I am a fan of Dufty.
Yeah.
I think he's had his
I
struggles.
don't mind him. I think
he's had his struggles.
Yeah.
I don't think he's the best player in the world, but I think he's solid for the Dragons, a solid fit. And I think he's a lot better than having Norman at fullback, because in the end, Corey Norman's not a fullback.
Yeah. He's more of a half now. Even though he played fullback in the beginning of his career, you can't just chuck him and say, oh, he played fullback like he's an expert. He's not that lucky.
He didn't play at Para. He was at Para for 5'8" for years before he went to the Dragons.
Yeah, that's right. That's a good point as well. So, look, where do you see it from here for the Titans? Do you see any light at the end of the tunnel?
Man, I mean, Corey Thompson. Look, I'm a big fan of Corey Thompson, but there's only so much he can do.
Yeah, bro. 100%. Well, that was a recap for that game. Now, mate, this game was full on. Tigers 36 to the Cowboys 20. Man, that first half from the Tigers was just amazing. That was just... When Tigers get on a roll, and I've noticed that because they always do it against the Bulldogs, but when they get on a roll, mate, game over.
Well, I think the game was summed up by two things. Taumalolo, his first game at captain. The second tackle of the game, he knocked it on.
Yeah.
And that kind of just set it up for the Cowboys. I don't know if you remember their first try. It was one of the softest tries. Sterlo said it's one of the softest tries he's ever seen.
Yeah. Very soft.
But to be down 34-0 at halftime, that's just not on.
No, it's despicable.
You can't have that on.
But I want to just touch on the Tigers just for a quick minute, mate. That first half was exceptional.
Yeah.
I really feel like Josh Reynolds is really coming out of his skin and really starting to enjoy footy on the field and enjoy life outside the field as well, now that all the distractions are clear.
Well, we've always known he's a good footy player.
Yeah.
He just had everything going on.
Exactly
so now
right.
that his mind's a bit more clear, it's good to see him, playing good footy. I think him and Brooks are a good combo.
Yeah, I love it. Look, obviously I mentioned Benji Marshall, and he's obviously the most iconic one to the Tigers. But look, you can't take it away from Josh Reynolds. He's actually playing fantastic footy.
And definitely has an impact on him, you can see. Because he's just a big morale player.
Yeah, but what about Harry Grant? He's only come in third, fourth game for the club, and already they're talking him up to be like the next hooker for State of Origin for the next 10 years.
Offensively, he's a very, very smart hooker for his age. For his age,
very
he
smart.
Finds gaps. He's got a decent kicking game for a hooker as well.
Yeah.
I think they work well. That spine combo works well.
Yeah, no, it does. It works really well.
With Mbai at the back as well.
Adam Dwayne as well, starting to really find himself as a fullback.
Yes.
You know, obviously overcoming that ACL injury he had last year, really starting to find
Man,
himself.
props to Dwayne, man. You know, in the end, he's only 21.
He's killing it.
I remember last year watching him at the Rabbitohs, he would get smashed every single run because he's not a very big guy. But good on him, man. I really like him. I'm a big fan of him.
Yeah,
I think he'll be a real solid fullback.
Yeah, no, he's going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
He's a good purchase for the club. Obviously, they did lose Corey Thompson, which we've harped on already.
Yeah.
But look, he's actually proving to be very decent for the club. And in that fullback spot, there won't be many people that have to contend for him.
Yeah.
Look, I think they found their best fullback since James Tedesco.
Yeah.
But look, that first half, man, from the Tigers was just phenomenal. It was almost flawless. But just still in the first half, the Cowboys, mate, it was disgusting. Look, I know you're missing Valentine Holmes. I know that you're missing Jordan McLean for that grown up front and Holmes for the back. And confirmation that they're losing Malcolm Morgan again for another 6 weeks. I mean, yeah, I understand. Like, it's very hard, but surely 34-0 in the sheds. Paul Green blowing up.
Like I said, the tries they were giving up, you know, Tigers were rolling, but some of the tries they were giving up were just soft.
Nah,
like
soft.
That, I think it was the third or fourth one in the corner.
Yeah.
Where was it Felt who just
gave up, and then Robert Jennings went in and
just couldn't get to it
at the same time. Yeah,
just couldn't get to it, and it was an easy rounding.
Yeah, look, and now there's all this pressure on now Paul Green to stand down as a coach, and he's been linked to Sharks, which we'll get onto a bit later. But the Cowboys, I just feel like they're still missing JT. I don't think they found anyone like JT to come in and really control that team the way they have.
It is a big hole that they've.
Of course.
That JT left because, you know, he's Thurston. But, you know, you got to move on.
Yeah, no, I understand. And as I said, you're missing Holmes, you're missing Jordan McLean, you're missing Michael Morgan. Morgan is your main half. Now they've got Drinkwater who's doing all right and Clifford who's doing okay. But look, they came back in the second half, which was disgusting by Tigers. I'm sorry to have a flawless first half the way they did, and then to come out second half and lose 20 points to 2.
Oh, if I was Michael Maguire, I would have blown up.
Yeah, and mate, fair enough, he did.
Yeah.
He actually blew up, and he goes, "Look, that's not an 80-minute performance we're looking for." Yeah, we started off great, but Cowboys started to get that bit of a roll on, and I'm thinking to myself, mate, surely they're not going to let this one go. Surely they'll just keep this one at bay.
I think it's safe to say no defense game.
Yeah, mate, 56 points taken to the game. There's no defense at all.
What are you going to say? Man?
Now, look, game of the round for me. We'll move on. Look, I know it's a bit of an unfortunate one for yourself. Roosters 24 over the Eagles 10 at Bankwest.
Man, look, you know, obviously we didn't get the result we wanted, but firstly, game of the year.
Yeah.
Secondly, you know, I was really happy with the performance, and that's all I've read. You know, Paris should have their heads held high.
Yeah.
In the end, we just got outclassed by the two-time premiers, and experience shone through.
Yeah.
The Morris brothers. I mean, I don't need to say anything more.
Can't wait. They just won the clock back, don't they, these guys? You think they're 21 again?
I was just looking, how do you stop him, man?
Man, I saw Gutherson taking that line break down middle of the field, and I'm like, oh, don't tell me he gets away. It was Bearmores, actually. Bearmores came from the wing and then just cut him straight through and got him. And I was just like, man, this is so good to watch. I'm missing him at the Dogs, and both of them, actually.
Gutho's 25. They're in their 30s.
Yeah, 32, 33.
They're mid-30s.
It's crazy. Look, for me, my standouts of the game, look, Luke Keary. Surely he's a number 6 for New South Wales. I know it's never too early to talk about Origin, but I would pencil in Keary from now. I penciled him in before the season started. He just reminds me so much of James Maloney and what he brings to the club.
Yeah.
I love that. The Morris boys, as we touched on, outstanding in attack and defence. Tedesco, bit of a quieter game from him, but he was still involved in a lot of things.
He still had a big stat line before he got, you know, taken
I
out.
know. He still had clocked about 190 odd metres, a couple of tackle breaks, and a few offloads.
Yeah.
That was for the Roosters. I thought they were really like the real standouts there. Moving on to Para, Civil. That was probably his best game of the year.
Yeah. It was a bit of a quiet season.
Yeah.
He's had a bit of a quiet season, sorry.
Yeah, Michael Jennings, mate, he was, apart from that sin binny, which is unfortunate, mate, he had...
Towards the end, yeah.
Yeah, look, he made 1 or 2 errors, but he had the Roosters second-guessing themselves. And we're talking about someone who's a bit older and in form. Michael Jennings. He's been superb for you guys.
Yeah, well, it just experienced centre versus, you know, Joey Manu, who's a great centre.
Yeah.
But in the end, he was just... Experience normally wins, and Jennings, you know, there was that pass to Sivo where he just kind of stepped, fended, and just kind of walked through the Roosters team.
Yeah,
and then obviously to Sivo for the arguably play of the round with that try over Tedesco.
Which I was just about to touch on, actually. Yeah, that hit. when he went to America. That got to like Sportskeeda and he got to House of Highlights and
Oh,
ESPN.
I'm not surprised.
That
You know
was
what?
monstrous.
Props to Teddy for putting his body on the line. You know, giving
Yeah.
his all, trying to stop Sivo, who's a big winger, a big
Guy's
boy.
a wrecking ball.
He's a big boy. So you know, good on him. I felt really bad for him. You know, he was knocked out cold.
Yeah, he was feeling like he had days and that. Turned out it was okay, which is
Yeah.
being assessed for HIA.
But it just goes to show that the Roosters are they're on that another level, man. Because right off that try, their first set they scored.
I was about to mention that
It was
they're
off
class.
Keys, yeah.
It's that class.
We just got our class in the end.
Yeah, look, you guys obviously, like, I don't have it. I think you guys were superb throughout the
Yeah.
whole game. It was game of the round. When you guys got up 10-8, I was like, man, if Eels actually take this game, we need to start talking about them as really genuine contenders. I want to block them out and say they're not, but I can't avoid the obvious.
Yeah.
But
Look, I was really proud of them, especially in the first 30 minutes.
Mm.
I think other teams would have been down 16, 18-0 at that point because they were throwing everything they had at us.
Yeah.
You can really see the difference in our defense from last year to this year. And that was something that was harped on in the off-season. That was all I saw. You know, we're really focusing on our defense. Want to make sure our goal line defense is rock solid. And you can really see that this season.
yeah, no, absolutely. But look, as I said, it's not so much of it. Like, then you guys know where to rebound from that.
Absolutely.
From that loss.
Absolutely.
But look, for me, the Roosters, it just shows the maturity and it shows the class. When Kiri got through and passed that ball onto corner, like, I'm just thinking, man, this, like, Eels didn't have the lead for only like 1 minute. Not even that. And then they just went with it, the
Straight
Roosters.
through,
So,
man. Yeah. And in the Eels experience, like, you know, the leadership of Cordner, the experience of Kiri. Kiri's been doing it for a while now.
yeah.
And then with the Morris brothers
Yeah.
running amok as well.
Flawless.
Yeah.
It's flawless. So, game of the round for me,
Cracker
definitely.
game, man. It was a good game of footy.
This one actually surprised me. The Sunday 4 o'clock game. Seagulls 14 up on the Raiders 6.
Man.
I sat there, George, just to cut you off there quickly. I sat there. I see Dylan Walker go off within 3 minutes. Then I see Brad Parker off 2 minutes later, and I'm thinking, okay, this is a shambles. But Manly, they showed so much heart.
Man, okay, to start the game without Tapau and Sully, so two of your starters gone, including
That's
Tapau, your enforcer. Then 5 minutes you lose your 5/8, and then your other centre. It's just like, and you're versing Canberra, you know, the runners up last year.
That's
They're
right.
They're not a bad team.
Yeah, that's right.
Man, good on them. That was all. I'll say that was probably the second best game of the round. But just they played with heart. I think that shows Des Hasler's work ethic on them, just not quitting.
Yeah, absolutely.
A player like Jake Trbojevic really reflects that. Just a workhorse. Yeah, good on him, man. Good
Yeah,
on
no,
him.
I was enjoying it, and I'm thinking, man, like they're playing with so much heart, and they're showing that no matter what weighs them down, they just find heart. They find a way to win. They find a way to hold on. And look, the big loss came with Tom Trbojevic. That really rattled the Sea Eagles.
That really upset me, man. It's really upsetting to see because every year he's just in he's in top form.
Yeah, he's
and
dangerous,
that nagging injury always comes back to bite him.
I
You
know.
could just see on his face how upset he was. You know, you really feel for him, someone who's copped that injury that many times.
I know, man.
Hopefully he can bounce back soon,
Yeah.
and hopefully the injury stays away.
Yeah, best wishes to him, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
But, you know, I got to ask the question: what happens with Manly from here? Missing this many players.
Well, look, which we'll get onto in just a bit
Yeah.
later in the program, but you'll find that they've always found a way to cover, and they've always found a way to win. That's what I love about Manly. They always find a way to win, regardless of the circumstances. Look, they will get a couple of players back this week, which we'll touch on a bit later. But just want to quickly just on the Raiders, man, they were sloppy. I found that wasn't a side that were runners up last year in the grand
If
final.
there's a game to win against a decent team with that many players missing, it'd be that one.
Yeah, well, you'd think they would have had that in the bag, but they just had nothing. Even Jack Wyden was probably his worst game in a very long
Yeah,
time,
agreed.
and he's been Mr. Consistent for Raiders for so long.
Agreed. Apart from that one pass he threw.
Yeah, I mean, look, like I don't think they'll keep this up. The Raiders, they're a lot better than that. Ricky Stewart would have drilled them. They're a lot better than that.
Absolutely.
And I like that Raiders didn't go into too many changes for this week. They kept it the same. If there's really that many issues, they'll look into changing. But look, another one of the hits that rattled us, Cyril on Rapana.
Oh, man.
Rapana running down, coming down to get that 7 tackle set.
That kind of summed up the game, you know.
Just destroyed him.
Raiders get a 7 tackle set. They might gain a bit of momentum here, a bit of ground. First tackle,
Cyril, boom, just
Rapana
Just romped him.
smacked into the turf.
it was beautiful to
Yeah,
watch.
Well, some big hits this round. I got to say, I think standout for the Manly side. They all played well, but Fanua Blake to have the other prop missing and to
Yeah.
put up over
good.
200 meters.
That's good, yeah. Mate, he
Good
put
on
over
him.
200 metres himself. Mate.
Good on him.
He's an absolute workhorse.
Good
For
on him.
Blake. Yeah, doing really well for the
Yeah.
club. Now, the last game of the round, Sharks 20 to the Dogs 18. Look, Sione Katoa got a first hat trick.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
found that
good
to
on
be
him.
probably the only highlight of the game. But look, forget. I don't want to go into the Bulldogs just yet. But if we can talk about the Sharks for a sec,
Man,
they are woeful. I'm sorry.
They shouldn't be proud with that win, and
They-
I'm sure John Morris wouldn't have been happy with it. Yeah.
It's disgusting, Jordan. Like, I'm looking at a team on paper. Well, on paper, you got Sean Johnson, you got Matt Moylan, you got Andrew Fafita. You know, then they brought back in some experience in Bryson Goodman to make his second return to the club. There's a lot of experience there. For them to not have put us away by a good 30, 40
Yeah,
odd
you look
is
at it,
just...
they're the better team.
On paper, absolutely they're the better team.
I think the issue for them, especially on Sunday night, was their halves. They just didn't seem to do much.
Yeah, but...
I think Sean Johnson struggled a bit.
Yeah.
Chad Townsend could have played better. Could have lifted the team a bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. I just think that obviously those kicks that they scored from tries, that they got, like, they were a result of tries. They can't do that against any other club.
Of course not.
Maybe the Titans and the Dragons,
Of course not.
even Brisbane, for a laugh. But look, it's same old for the Bulldogs, man. It's same old story. We're not good enough. And we keep going back to the experience. We keep going back to who they need and what they're going to get. But at the same time, like, yeah, they Bulldogs have a lot of pride. They play with a lot of pride, and I'll give them that.
That's just the club.
It
club
doesn't win
history.
you games, mate. Like, it doesn't win games.
In the
and
end,
attack
you
is
need
just-
good football players.
That's it, bro. And look, we're in the rebuilding stage, and I've acknowledged that many times. But a game like that, we should have won because they couldn't put us away. We could have taken that game and run with it.
Yeah. Look, it was a sloppy game. Neither team played very well.
Nah, look, I think that was Christian Crichton's worst game for the Bulldogs. That was just every try, like the 3 tries that Katoa scored was on his wing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not good enough. And yeah, he's suspended for this week. Kind of thankful for that in a sense. But look, it's not good enough. And look, what the Bulldogs need to do from here, I believe, is that they need to figure out what they're going to do with Dean Pay. They've got a board meeting tomorrow at the club to decide whether he's going to get sacked or he's going to be continuing on for the rest of the season. But I need to know. I'm a fan of the Bulldogs.
Yeah.
I need to know.
Yeah.
Because for that reason, I need to know because how we can rebuild. But I want to know so that, like, how are we going to attract players to the club?
I think the second issue is, you probably know it. It's your half and your hooker. In the end, Foreign's there and DWZ are there. But that half keeps changing. Your hooker keeps changing. So I think that's huge for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, we're still trying to work out our spine. We're still trying to work out what's going to happen with that.
Exactly.
The only highlight from the Bulldogs was DWZ's hit on more than.
Probably hit of the round. Man.
Hit of the round for sure. I'm sorry, mate. Silva and Jennings was good, but mate,
You got to remember, DWZ isn't a very big guy.
but let me tell you, that hit on Moylan put him back in his old Penrith jersey. Let me tell you, he absolutely destroyed him.
Back a few years, huh?
Oh, yeah, absolutely back a few years. Well, look, that was a recap for round 6. Let's get into the news around the rugby league world. And look, there's a bit to hop on, so let's just quickly get into
every
it.
week.
There's so much every week,
Every
bro.
week.
That's what I love this so much. It's so good. It gives you something to talk about. Look, Raiders get approval to play home games from round 8, as most of the other clubs ended up getting that as well, which is a good sign for all those that get the home ground advantage.
Yeah,
Unfortunately for the Warriors, I don't think that'll be the case.
Yeah.
I think they're still going to be based over in Sydney for now.
Yeah.
Look, we talked about it earlier. Callum Ponga re-signing for 4 years is a massive coup for the club. That's huge.
Absolutely.
They can build around, and he wants to win a premiership at the Knights, and they'll do that. Their next targets, they're targeting to re-sign Mitchell Pearce and Bradman Best. And they're both very good players in their own right. Mitchell Pearce,
Well, Pearce looks
phenomenal
happy at the
experience.
club.
Yeah.
And Best is, 18? So he's got a bright young future ahead of him.
Yeah, he's just a kid, but he's killing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Doing so well.
Absolutely. Good on him.
Now, speaking of youngsters, Herbie Farnworth, the Broncos outside back, he's actually being chased by the Roosters, a couple other clubs in the NRL, and even other sporting codes. You find themselves being chased by Rugby Union. And I found that this kid was playing for Manchester United when he was
He's
really
an
young.
athlete, isn't he? He's an athlete. He's
Quite the talent.
he's in a bit of a predicament. He's in a club where they're not very interested in doing well. And he's being chased by a club like Roosters, who are very interested in doing well.
Yeah.
But it's good that he's got options. He's got options.
And he's talked about, and he's not bad. I thought it was very decent against the Knights.
We were just talking about Bradman Best. He really quietened him down on Thursday night.
I know, 100%. Now, moving on to that, Isaac Moses got his registration as a player manager cancelled. He got his NRL accreditation cancelled, which then brought out the idea of about $15 million worth of talent being available. Now, not sure if you knew these rules, but Isaac Moses is managed by some of the best in terms of Cameron Smith,
Absolutely. Yeah.
Michael Jennings, Anthony Seabold, the Broncos coach,
Mm.
Matt Lodge, Katoni Staggs,
Well, he's got
Corey
a-
Pay. Like, there's just some
lot of
names.
players, lot of players.
A lot of players, and John Bateman, one of them, he's been talked about recently in
Mm.
terms of contract issues
Yeah,
and whatnot.
Yeah.
Now, it's a big loss for Isaac Moses. Now, without harping too much on it, it does involve Tim Manor and what he's going and said to the integrity unit. But I believe that's all with the courts for now, and that's with the law at the moment. So they're just going to have to handle that. But I'm kind of happy to have him kind of discredited from being an NRL player manager. I know he's got it, like, even though Woods came out this week and he full defended it and he goes, look, great guy, everything about him is great. I've got no problems with him. He's fine. He'll fight it. But look, if you're going to there's only so far you can keep doing dodges in the game. It's only going to get you so far. And
Absolutely.
it'll ruin you. So.
Absolutely. Well, if he's doing the wrong thing and he's found out about it, then hopefully they'll take the right steps.
Yeah, that's right. So they're talking about moving the grand final back to ANZ from the SCG, which please do. You'll fit 30 people in the SCG compared to the thousands you'll fit.
In the end, I mean, SCG,
ANZ.
it is the Sydney Cricket Ground. It's not for footy.
Yeah, it's
not
it.
for footy. Even
It's in
even
the
just
name.
going the way it revolves around the field, and we know the grand final's been at ANZ for years.
Mm.
I don't think there's a need to take it to the SCG.
Yeah, that's right. Now, James Graham gets an immediate release. That should be confirmed by the club soon to head to the St. Helens.
Yeah.
Look, big loss for the game. When he played for Bulldogs, played a good 135 games for the Dogs, played a good 50, almost 60 games for the Dragons, and really proved his
Been
worth.
around for ages.
Mate, he played 400 games across
Good
Super
on him.
League and NRL.
Good
Mate,
on
all
him.
the best to you, James Graham. What an absolute legend, and
Yeah.
wish nothing but the best of him. So he'll go to St. Helens, where we got Luke Thompson. For the Bulldogs,
Yes.
got Luke Thompson.
Yeah.
So he'll go replace him
Yeah.
there.
And, it's good for him that he goes back to where he started when he was real young.
Yeah.
He started when he was 18, 19.
About that, yeah.
he
He
was
played a good
really-
400 games.
yeah,
He's
he-
34 now,
He was
so
real young, but it's good, and they'll just lap up all the experience.
yeah.
And they'll use him just as a real mentor and role model in the club. I'm sure all the young players will be looking up to him and asking him for tips. He's played for England and Great Britain how many times?
Yeah,
Played
that's
in
right.
NRL for ages.
That's good. That's true. Now, Michaela Ravalawa re-signs for 3 years with the Dragons. You a bit of a smirk there, George? Anyway, yeah. Look, it's good that at least someone wants to stay committed to the club. Considering that
Yeah.
Isaac Luke left, James Graham's now leaving, and Jason Saab and Tristan Saylor want releases as well. So, look, it gives some bit of hope to Dragons fans. I know a lot of Dragons fans don't rate him, but
bit of stability at least.
yeah, that's right. On to you guys. You guys signed Jordan Rankin as a
Yeah.
backup to the halves and the backs.
Tamani, yeah.
Yeah. You guys are looking at seeing where James Seguiro's up to with this whole Asada situation and trying to maybe get him as a replacement for Marnie. So, look, I think that's pretty good. I think it'd be a good
I
backup.
wouldn't mind having him as a backup. It's just I don't think we should pay him too much.
Yeah.
In the end, Marnie's our hooker for the next X amount of years.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, you know what? The kid plays 80 minutes a game. So if there's ever a backup, if he's ever injured, it's always good
Yeah.
to have someone there.
Yeah, that's right. Now, the big talking point from the weekend was Stephen Kearney getting sacked from the Warriors. I thought the timing was a little bit, how's it going, personally? I didn't think it was great
I think
timing.
the club's doing a lot worse than them. That
Yeah.
coaches need to go before he did. I didn't even think it was a bad coach. But the timing was just way off.
Yeah, no,
It's not-
absolutely.
It's not the time for it. I mean, the club's already
Having to sacrifice as it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
You really got to feel for him at this point.
Mm.
Really got to feel for them. You got to feel for Kearney as well.
Yeah, and Jeff Tuvey and Anthony Griffin have already put their hand up and said, hey, we'd love to have Nava coaching the Warriors. A big reason around that, though, I did find out that they wanted to have control over the playing roster. They have about 13, 14 players off contract this year, which is why Warriors are always in the market for some new players. So it gives the new coach opportunity to rebuild the team he wants, getting him to the Warriors. So look, it'll be interesting to see what they do. Now, Jack DeBellin, he's actually in court for the remainder of the week.
Yep.
To see how he's going to go with those accusations leveled out against him. They're saying that if he was to get adjourned for whatever reason, it will adjourn him back to November, which will then have him sit out a second straight season for the Dragons. Warriors and Tigers are interested in Jack DeBellin, trying to get him and see what the situation is once he gets cleared to then take him away from Dragons. He's on a handsome salary at the Dragons, getting $595,000 a year at the Dragons. So he's getting some good money there.
Well, I mean, if you're the Dragons, you'd be doing everything you want to keep him because you're losing James Graham, you're losing Frizzell next season. And you got to remember, I think we've forgotten how good Jack DeBellin is.
Yeah, he's freakish.
He's an Origin player.
Yeah.
And for at club level, he's just week in, week out, a very, very solid player. So if I was the Dragons, I'd look to keeping him
Yeah,
as
absolutely.
much as possible.
And one player that the Dogs are actually struggling to keep, Adam Elliott. He's actually been approached by a few clubs to actually get his services taken away from the Bulldogs and to go elsewhere. Now, Dogs are still trying to fight for him. They see him as great value. It's going to be interesting to see what happens from here, though.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that sums it up for the week in terms of the major talking points from the last week or so.
Always a lot going on.
Always, it's too busy. It's too busy. Now, look, straight into the round 7 talking points and the tips for the week. Now, Panthers versus Rabbitohs Thursday, 7:50 p.m. Penrith are 1-17. The Rabbitohs, James Roberts comes onto the bench finally after Bennett confirmed every week he was coming on and then just never came on. Yeah. He'll come on for Tom Mamoni, who's actually done his knee. Yeah. I believe it's a very serious injury there. So he'll come in as a straight swap for him. Mate, I'll go Penrith by 8. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I'd say that about that. I don't think it'll be a blowout. You know, they're both coming off pretty good performances.
Yeah.
Rabbitohs off a pretty big win.
Mm-hmm.
Panthers off a very gritty and well played win.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be a very good game.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It'll be good to see, you know, the Cleary versus Reynolds matchup. Yeah, I think that'll be a great game.
Yeah, no, it should be. It's a great 7:50 Thursday night. It's nothing better just to kind of almost end the week on that game, so it's good. Storm Warriors. Now, Storm, Josh Adokar comes back. He actually just, him and his partner have a baby boy this week, which is why he missed the game. And Jerome Hughes comes back from broken hand. So Marion Seve, who wasn't great at all for the Storm this week, gets dropped, and so does Riley Jacks for the Storm. So they'll get Hughes back in there, which would help Munster a little bit more, which is awesome. Now, the Warriors. Now, Todd Payton's first time has named his side for the first time as the coach, the interim coach for the Warriors. Now, he's got Carl Alden coming straight on for Wade Egan, who is suspended due to the eye gouge on Latrell Mitchell. Jack Murchie, the mid-season signing from Canberra, goes straight into the 11 jumper and replaces Elise Katai, who's got an ankle injury. Now, Ken Momalo, he comes in for Gerard Bill. Gerard Bill's actually been moved to 18th man in the side. Yep. And Shino Harris-Taveta and Isaiah Papali'i are the last two members on the bench there. Yep. Now, Lachlan Burt and Dave Fusatua were both named in the squads, pending the HIA, depending how they go, whether they get past the concussion protocols. Look, as I said, I don't see the Storm doing what they did again last week, and I think they're going to come out and just blow out the Warriors.
Yeah, I think Bellamy will not be happy with the performance.
Yeah. And
on top of that, they're facing quite a fragile club as well.
So I've tipped Storm by 16 for this one.
Yeah. I'd have to agree. Especially having, Hughes back. You know, he's been there for a few years, and he's played with Munster.
That's right.
And then having Adokar, an Origin winger.
Yeah, it's perfect. So, for the next game, Roosters versus the Dragons. Can tell you where this is going already. But, look, James Tedesco was named pending...
3P for the Dragons?
Oh, mate. They're 3 in a row. Look, they're already trying to buy premiership tickets already. Nah, look, James Tedesco comes back into the side, even though he's waiting to see what happens with the concussion. Obviously, he copped against Civil. Now, if he is out... I find there's absolutely no issues. Bro Morris comes straight into fullback. Ryan Hall goes onto the wing. Yeah. Now, Sam Fells and Lindsay Collins, who both missed out last week, will go straight back onto the bench, and they'll take place of Cecilia Tupanua and Mitch Orbison. Okay. Now, the Dragons, Jason Saab, the guy that requested a release from the Dragons a few weeks ago, finally gets his starting spot on the wing to replace Jordan Pereira, who's suspended for a grade 2 or 3 high shot. Yeah. Now, Blake Laurie will come into the starting side at prop, which will push Josh Kerr to the bench. And Jackson Ford will go into the side as well to replace James Graham, who he confirmed last night at NRL 360. He's off to the Super League. Yep. I think Dragons' run will end, and I think all the pressure will be back on McGregor. Roosters by 20 plus for me.
Yeah, they're just in top form, man. No matter what team, Broncos was 59-0, Para 24-10. I'm not sure exactly how bad the score will be.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's a good game, but Roosters are it's looking like Roosters run away at this point.
I'm kind of hoping it is. We got destroyed 42-6 by them, so I'm hoping they do just as much to the Dragons. Now, look, Cowboys versus the Knights. Now, Cowboys, Ruben Cotter will replace Corey Jensen on the bench, with Jake Granville and Jordan McLean named on the extended bench, which is good. They need some experience for the Cowboys. Now, they didn't play Jake Granville, and they decided to play Reece Robson instead, who's a great kid, up and comer. Didn't have a great game against the Tigers, so they've got Granville back on the extended bench as a potential chance to come in, at least on the bench. Yep. While for the Knights, Bradman Best is actually out for breaking NRL's COVID-19 protocols. Yep. Now, he's actually going to be replaced by Anari Tuala, which will mean Best will sit out this week. He's actually isolating for the next 7 days, and he'll be back in the team next week, available for selection. Now, look, for me, Valentine Holmes is still not back. Morgan's out for another 6 weeks. McLean is a potential return, but I still think Knights will run away with this one and just
Yeah.
continue to build their start towards the year.
In the end, Knights, all their key players are there,
Mm.
and they're playing well.
That's right. Now, this game, I would say, so Knights for me will be the tip of the round.
Absolutely.
I genuinely don't know who to tip for this next game. Broncos versus the Titans. Now, Broncos
Race
testing
with
you.
the spoon.
Yeah, mate. Testing you will start at fullback with Jermaine Osako coming onto the bench. Carrigan and Thomas Flegler are suspended. And just today, Corey Pay actually strained his pec and he's
Yeah,
actually not going to be.
training.
Another blow to the hooking department for the Broncos. So, Offense Gao will move to the starting lock, which will bring back the two players that were dropped, Jamil Hopewadi and Reece Kennedy, into the bench. And Isaac Luke will have his first number 9 jersey for the Broncos.
Yeah.
The Titans, they just injury galore, these guys. I feel sorry for them. But Dale Copley will return to the side in place of young Tony Mapea, who's done his knee. Mitch Rain will come in and replace Aaron Clark at hooker. No mention of Nathan Peets again, which has been the last few weeks. So it looks like Peets may be on the outer at the Titans. Now, Sam Lazzoni and Keegan Hipgrave will now start. And Jermaine Jolliffe will be benched. And Bryce Cartwright has actually been dropped for this game. And one name we haven't seen in the Titans colours in a while, Jared Wallace, the former Brisbane player, actually gets his spot on the bench
Yeah, finally.
for the team. I don't know who to tip. I don't know who to tip. Who do you got?
Look, I want to say Brisbane. I think a player like Isaac Luke,
Starting with his experience could make a big difference.
Mm.
You know, in the end, it's a game where it's obviously hard to pick. It could go either way. But I think with Isaac Luke and Brisbane's forwards, it could propel them.
Mm.
But I'd say Brisbane by maybe 8.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair. Look, I'm going to stick with Brisbane for now, but I may potentially change it so Titans will win the game, just so you guys are aware. Eagles versus the Raiders. Your club coming up against the Raiders. They come off, as again, that loss to the Sea Eagles. So for you guys, Takairangi will replace Penny Taupo on the bench. And Nathan Brown confirmed at 8 o'clock tonight he has been suspended for 2 weeks. How do you feel?
Always rough to see, man. We'll touch on that a little later with the judiciary. But yeah, he's a big impact player for us.
Yeah.
But having Niokore at that 13 spot, it's not a bad pick. But Brown, you can just see the difference he makes for our team
absolutely.
on both sides of the field.
Yeah.
Look, I'm still gonna tip Para. Interesting to see that. Look, we're both coming off a loss, but we're coming off a loss. A loss where we kept our heads high.
Yeah.
And Raiders are coming off a quite a disappointing performance. So it's Canberra may dramatically turn things around.
Yeah, true.
And we'll have to see just how we responded to that loss.
Yeah, that's right. Look, in Canberra will go out 1-17 once again. They're not going to make any changes for this game. Look, it's a hard one. It's a game of the round for me, this one. I'll probably back the Eels, maybe by about 6 or 8.
Yeah.
I don't think there'll be much in it for
Look,
this
I
game.
remember last year when we played them, we were down by about 12 or something. And I remember we came back and won that game.
Yeah, perfect.
But I think that'll be a great game, to be honest.
Yeah, that should be good. Now, Seagulls versus the Sharks, 4 o'clock on Sunday. Now, we've got Tom Trbojevic, who's obviously done his hammy, and Dylan Walker's done his ankle, both out for 6 to 8 weeks. He'll be replaced by Brendan Elliott at fullback, and Lachlan Croker will go back into the halves. Now, George Tafua is a big return back on the wing, which will push Tavera Funa to the centres. And Marty Tapau back in the front row, which is awesome. And they'll have that bench utility of Kate Cust come back into the 17 to take Lachlan Croker's spot there.
Yep.
Now, with the Sharks, 1-17, Fafita was named to start with Hamlin Uwe go back to the bench. But over the last few weeks, they've been swapping, maybe to give Fafita a bit more rest and give impact.
Well, you can see he's struggling.
Yeah, look, even with as depleted as a side as the Eagles may have, I am still backing them to beat the Sharks.
I mean, if they play like they did on Sunday, it won't be close, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Look, I still don't think Sharks are anything great.
No.
Look, I'll go Eagles 13 plus. I'm confident they'll. Lachlan Croker's played with Cherry Evans before, so there's no issue there.
In the end, they've got the better forwards, they've got the better half.
Yeah.
So
Exactly right.
they're the better side, and if they're playing like they did last round, I don't think it'll be close at all.
Yeah, that's true.
Sharks, their mental levels are just not there at the moment. Just not their spirits aren't there at the moment.
And with the increasing pressure of John Morris now as one of the coaches
Club in
actually just.
turmoil.
I wouldn't say in turmoil, Jordan. I just think that there's just so much going on, and for someone like John Morris to be under pressure out of nowhere, I can understand, seeing as he's got such a good side. But
look, we forget that what happened with Bronson Cherry definitely has had an impact on them. It's rocked them, and then with John Morris as well. So they're dealing with a fair bit. You're
yeah,
right.
that's true. Yeah, so Seagulls for me for that one. And the last game of the round, Bulldogs versus the Tigers. Now the Dogs, Kieran Holland will return to the starting side and will replace Christian Crichton, who's suspended. Now, Jack Cogger, which means he will take the bench spot off Kieran Holland. Now, Nick Meaney and Aidan Tolman. Nick Meaney was actually injured with a hip flexor issue, and Aidan Tolman had to be away from the team due to the COVID-19 issues that he had with his family. There could be potential late inclusions, I'm hearing, for the side. We'll just see what happens there. For the Tigers, injuries galore for those guys, unfortunately. Tommy Talau will go in and replace Robbie Jennings straight on that wing spot. Oliver Clark will start up prop and will take Zane Musgrave's spot, who's injured. Matt Eisenhuth will move to the starting lock side with Alex Twal dropping out. He's did a
big loss for
big loss. He's been playing well, man. He's been fantastic.
Absolutely.
And one of my personal favourites, Elijah Taylor, will join the bench for the Tigers, and bring that experience and impact off the bench for them.
I think for you guys, having Meany and Tolman playing would be good.
Yeah, it'd be huge.
I think Meany's a real solid winger for you guys. He plays with heart, and he's a good kicker as well.
Yeah.
And Tolman's been there for years. This game is a bit of a tough one. Tigers do have the better roster, and they're coming off a big win, but they're kicking themselves at the same time because of that.
That's right.
Half that we talked about. I would have to pick Tigers, but I feel it'd be a gritty game. It'd be a gritty game. I don't think Tigers would would fly off that start like they did last week. Be interesting to see Reynolds up against his old club.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. Yeah, that'd be good.
Even Mbai, there's a couple ex Bulldogs players there.
That's right. Now, look, we're due for a win. I'm going to keep saying every week, I'll never tip against my team. I want to go Bulldogs in this one. You're probably going to get Tigers, I'm guessing.
Tigers by maybe 6. But it could go either way, man.
It's true.
I think that'll be a good Sunday footy game.
It's good Sunday 6:30 to just end the weekend off.
You guys like that slot, eh?
We love that slot.
Great
when you play Sundays at 6:30,
way to end the round.
I love it. Way to end my weekend and start a new week. So, but look, Jordan, mate, thank you so much for coming on.
Mate,
thank you for being
it's been awesome.
one of the few special guests that we've had so far. Much appreciated.
Well, thanks for having me. In the end, we love talking about footy.
So, mate, that's what we do. That's what we're here for.
It's
Guys, thank you so much for joining, ladies and gentlemen. Now, as I said, just any questions that you have, I've been getting a lot of emails from you guys in terms of rumours and news regarding the teams. Keep sending them through to leaguechatwiththestat@gmail.com. And look, as I said, if you want to email me as well and get in contact about jumping on the show, absolutely more than welcome to have you on. And over the next few weeks, you'll start to see a few more special guests. So that's going to be a very exciting time. But Jordan, again, thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me, mate.
Thanks for everyone at home.
Always a pleasure.
Thanks for everyone at home. You have a good week, and we'll see what happens after round 7. Take care.